Hello and welcome everybody on today's webcast. My name is Claudia Eifert and I have with me the founder and CEO of UtopianGlobal, Bill Rowell, who's coming on a second here on board. I hope you all are well, wherever you are calling in from. I know we have so many people from different places, different continents on the call, so that is fantastic. We are certainly a global community. I myself, I'm in Germany under lockdown like everybody else here, and we have our founder and CEO calling in from Dubai. Same thing happened over there. So it's a very interesting time. It is certainly changing the way we, think, the way our actions are. Everything is basically sort of in shock mode still. So are we, but the great thing is we have been preparing for that event since around 12 years. In fact, since we launched this company, we have been speaking about a global collapse. We have been speaking about that, exactly what's happening now. We have never thought it would be a coronavirus, but yes, we have been telling and talking about the importance of owning precious metals, the importance of being diversified, the importance of having a online business, the importance of having a global business since really long time. And well, of course, the worst, which we did not expect, is actually now happening. But the great thing is, hopefully, the people which have been doing exactly what we have said so long time, they are on the safe side. And of course, all the others which are new, there's lots of new people to the call, or have really started just the last few months. Well, you can not understand, but I mean, you also have this chance now to basically still follow what we have been suggested, so that with all this craziness out there, basically you can still do something to be protected. And with that, I want to say now hello to our founder and CEO live from Dubai. Hi, Bill. How is it in Dubai?
Hi, Claudia. Well, Dubai is exceptionally quiet. It's one of the major world airports. Pretty much come to a standstill. I think it does something like 80 million people per year. I think tomorrow is the last flights out of here. Then it's shut down. I can't get out. I can't get out. I'm stuck here. And other business people are also stuck here. And so that's the way it is. I mean, primarily workers laid off here, and if you don't work, you don't get paid. Not like the West. So many of these people are immigrant workers from Pakistan, India, Philippines, and Africa, of course. They work long hours here. They work 7 days a week, many of them 12-hour days. And of course, if they laid off work, like this hotel here, it's like a ghost town here, they have no income coming in. And if they fly back home and take this unpaid leave, there's a good chance they won't get back in. So it's hugely detrimental to people's well-being. It's all going to depend upon the time frame. But I spent a couple of hours with a gold banker today. He's Argor Haraj. You've all heard of Loomis. Loomis is a storage facility that holds all the gold, silver, and other precious holdings around the world. They have one here in Loomis. Sorry, they have one here in Dubai, and of course in Zurich, which we use. And he's the main agent for them. In fact, he contracted them many years ago with Argor Haraj, the main refinery. He actually was part of the vaulting system, part of the agreement. So really experienced in this area. And he said the biggest problem now is liquidity. Banks are drying up. You won't be able to get funds out. And of course, if there's no liquidity, you might even see prices drop down further from where they are now. And I was also with another businessman today. Now, this man would have to be, well, I would say, be close to a billionaire. He wanted to transfer significant funds from Switzerland to Dubai for some business, and the Swiss banker said, "No, don't do that now. It's the risk is too high." So banking liquidity is getting very difficult, and so that's the time where you want to be low in debt. You want to have cash at home. You want to have a bit of gold at home. You want to be owning real assets. So let's hope this curve before the markets start to come back up again and gold starts to come back up again. Let's hope this time period, because I don't think we've found the low yet, is not too long. We don't know how long it could be. I mean, I could be stuck here for a week. I could be stuck here for 3 months. I really have no idea. And the businessman I'm with, he can't get back to his family either in Canada, which is really really interesting. But anyway, that's the way it is. You just have to adapt to the circumstances. It's a global germ war in one sense, and you have to adapt. You can't stress out over it. You've got to stay calm in these circumstances and make a plan and make sure everyone around you, use common sense and stay safe. So that's Dubai.
Yes, well, Germany is deciding today, I believe, or tomorrow, to shut down everything. So streets are empty, shops are closed. All of my friends with small businesses are getting bankrupt. So that is unfortunately the case, but this is, and they have no idea. They're reaching out, of course, but things are very complicated to get through to the government's help. And I just had yesterday long calls with Argentina. Pension funds there, or not pension funds, the pensions which are paid, which are due to pay for the elderly people, they stopped, so they didn't get their payment. We just had a few comments from different people all over the world. I think this ANZ Bank in Australia, your bank, there people have problems getting out money. My mother, myself here, I told her, get your money out. We put it into gold, silver, and BTC more, and have somehow cash home. She couldn't get it out. And we hear things in the UK is the same. So it's an interesting scenario. And I think you just told me one of the major banks in the UAE collapsed as well.
Well, one of the major exchanges, it's called the UAE Exchange. And anyone that's familiar with Dubai, that one of the main stops near the DMCC at the end of the line is actually what they call the UAE Exchange. It's like the equivalent of Western Union. That's gone under billions of dollars. It's a major news in this part of the world. And primarily most of the immigrant workers, which is primarily, I think the locals here are only 7 or 8% of the population. Everyone here is pretty much a foreigner in the UAE. So this is, I'm sure people have lost money. That's gone under. If you had this is a problem when it comes to using, okay, banks are risky anyway, because you become accredited to the bank and you have these bail-in laws which now exist around the world, which means they have the right to take your money if a bank is in financial difficulty or possibly before it hits insolvency. They can take some of your money legally, just like they did in Cyprus. Since Cyprus, they've actually passed laws to make it legal. And of course, so by using some of these second or third tier exchanges, of course, your money's been held somewhere, you've got high volumes of it. If they go under, you lose your savings or you lose your holdings. And of course, many of the people here, many of these workers, they work exceptionally hard, and they send most of their income back home to their families to support their families, whether it's Africa, whether it's the Philippines, India, or Pakistan. These people here are they're slaves. They work exceptionally hard. They're very happy people, very courteous people. They send most of their money home. They live on the edge back here. So something like an exchange going under here would really hurt them. You know, so it's really sad, actually. So just be aware of those things. And I can tell you right now, I remember Australia very clearly in the 1990s. We had interest rates, I've told you on many calls, we had interest rates in the early 90s. You know, overdraft rate was 21%, housing rate was about 17%, and the term deposit, I think, was around 12 or 13%. And I remember a lot of Australians going that there was a private credit union that gave an extra 0.1% interest return on your money. Now, you're already getting 12 or 13%. Now, all of a sudden, they're now getting 13.1%. So they're chasing that extra percent. They were greedy. They wanted to squeeze at that last little bit of percentage to get the return on their money, even though they're getting fantastic returns per se. And of course, it wasn't a first tier bank. It was a private credit institution, and it went under. Billions of dollars lost. I know people who lost their life savings because they took all the money out of the banks and they just put it into this second tier, which was not protected. So you've got to be aware of these things. Sometimes if we chase things to get just that little bit of an extra return, you know, you've got to know who's holding your money, and that's really the problem. And that's why even with us, people say, why don't you have credit cards? Why aren't you offering this or that? Well, we're quite honest. Most of the time, probably 95% of the time, the lenders, sorry, the people who have these what they call these e-wallets, where you can have funding cards and things, they're a second tier bank. They're holding your money. So we paid in, lots and lots of money into these particular e-wallets so they could distribute the funds to you onto your cards. If they were to go under like the UAE Exchange, all your commissions will be lost. Or that's the whole point. So we're very cautious of that. Everything's okay when things are safe, but when markets change, they change very fast. And even we see now around the world, the first tier banks are not liquid. They're shutting down, they're closing down, they're drying up. So it is a major concern. And for people who have lost their work or have no income coming in and they have high mortgages and rents and things like that, and car leases and high cost of living, I mean, they must be under huge stress. I mean, it's a tough thing for these people. So God bless them. But the lesson for all of us, and we've been talking about this for 12 years.
That's what I said in the start of the call.
You've got to manage your debt, and of course you've got to have real savings there, and you've got to have real hard assets. These are the important things to actually have. But if you're burdened with debt, you're totally a victim or a slave to the actual lender, and it's these times when they put the squeeze on. There's an old saying: the bank's your friend when you're taking out a loan. They'll smile at you, they'll offer a cup of coffee, they'll give you an umbrella, but as soon as it starts raining, the first thing they'll take away is the umbrella, and that is the truth. And often we don't experience that until we get in these circumstances. But anyway, I hope everyone's well here. Stay calm, stay positive, and get your affairs in order. And most importantly, don't panic.
Correct, and that's really important. Don't panic. Breathe. Stay healthy. Eat healthy. Really important. But as of course we want to now proceed a little bit about the presentation, and I wanted to show you something which really impacts a lot of the mindset and the way of thinking, because many people don't really understand it. But this is going to be in the next 5 minutes or so when I'm going to share you that, and Bill will comment a little bit on that. Now, our project with Utopian Global, what do we do? Obviously, we're living, as you know, in a not only in an imbalanced global financial system, we are living in a very different time. Nobody ever would have expected. I believe everybody, even Bitcoin Mary, who reached out to me today, she's in her 80s. Even in her time, she hasn't experienced what we're experiencing now. So we're having all that happening. We have rising government debt, and we have certainly a huge global plastic crisis, and we have a high global resource consumption. We need a lot of resources as the population is growing. So with Utopian Global, with our ecosystem, what do you get? Well, you get ownership in real assets which produce income. You can make real income, obviously, through the production of those assets, but also from sharing our products and services with clients, with affiliates. That means you can make commissions, and therefore, certainly right now in those times when everybody is losing a job, actually, you can have a job, you can make money from home without even having to leave it. So part of our business is STORE. STORE stands for Sustainable Technology and Resource Holdings. It is in pre-launch since the end of 2018. It's a platform which invests in income-producing energy assets, which is oil and gas, which is plastic recycling. Plastics comes from oil, so return back, of course, produces oil, and in mineral reclamation. And we do have, obviously, since 12 years, wealth protection. That is silver and that is gold, which of course, in especially so those times, has always been the best way to be in, because I mean, gold brought freedom, silver brought freedom to people. And we can go back to any war, and our chancellor, our German chancellor, so she just said we had war, basically, or the French guy said it as well. Actually, French guy said it. Our chancellor, she said this is like war in war times, but the French was more. He says like this is war. So safeguard your wealth by savings in precious metals. This is what we have with our platform. And when you look at now and you wished to, or you wanted to buy precious metals from any of the big gold or silver bullion dealers, you're probably going to be sent away because they don't have it anymore. So they're sold out. They have very, very long waiting lines, extreme long waiting lines, but most likely we will be sent away, or of course now they are closing. Why? Well, because refineries are not producing anymore. They are closing, so there's a way higher demand of the physical metal than there is actually physical metal there. And of course, where will this go? Well, this obviously drives the price of gold higher. But that is not the whole point in why to be in gold. There's a totally different point of why to be in gold and why to be in silver. Education, well, we're giving you obviously some great education through different kind of people coachings when it comes to finance, but also personal development. And we do have a marketing platform where you, right now, especially in this situation, you can go out and market our products and services. When you join our trainings, which we provide for our Facebook groups, but also online trainings and all kinds of trainings, you can learn how to market our products and services. And when you, of course, attract customers, when you attract more affiliates, then you certainly be able to make money the 6 different ways our platform allows you to. So Bill Rowell, who just spoke, obviously he's the founder and CEO of UtopianGlobal. He started all of that 12 years ago. And again, as Bill said and I said, since 12 years, we are literally preaching why people need to diversify, to save, because there could be more likely a financial collapse happening. It is happening right now. As we speak, it is a very unprecedented time. This time is different than 2008. It's a very different time. 2008 was very difficult, and 2008, basically, it should already have collapsed. But this time is different. It is unprecedented. And so certainly the people who have part of their portfolio in gold or silver, well, you know, basically this always was the best safe haven. So Bill is a highly successful entrepreneur, having built various businesses and of course being in the hotel industry, but also having successfully built up a marketing company and of course now a gold or silver, etc. He basically started this business 12 years ago, and through, of course, his relationships was introduced through Philip Judge, the gold banker, which we talked in many calls about, to Ryan Messer. And Ryan Messer is the CEO of Store, the income producing assets, the platform. And together with Ryan, Bill many years ago invested in one of his huge funds back then. Why? Because in order to get a great dividend. Myself, I also invested in it a little later when this was already on the market, but still great because I also wanted to get passive income, because this is what it is about. We all want to have passive income. Everybody wants passive income. And this is what the wealthy do. That is why, of course, the wealthy people with passive income, well, they can then buy other businesses up. And right now in this time, well, what do you think they're going to do? The wealthy people who have cash flow, who have gold or silver, well, they be able to, when all those companies go broke, when all this this is basically coming to end, they can buy up very, very cheap real estate, very cheap companies, organizations, etc., etc. So this is why it's so vital to have cash flow. It's so vital to have some of your portfolio in gold or silver. But Bill, obviously through Ryan Messer, and he bought a large amount into his company prior, he came up with the idea for our people here in UtopianGlobal, the concept of Store, basically to give ordinary people the chance to own assets such as only the super wealthy do, and to really have a stake of ownership in these income producing assets. And you see the team is quite broad, and this is just of course the main guys, besides of course all the others, and they are very, very knowledgeable in the different areas, from of course refining, from minerals, gold, silver, from oil, refining oil, from all this stuff, and of course law, etc. So it's a huge experienced team with a combined 250 years something of experience in their sectors. But let's go into precious metals a little bit more, because it's really right now very much of of a big discussion, obviously. So precious metals, thinking outside the bank. The theme is thinking outside of the bank, because you just heard from Bill, things are shutting down. Argentina, things are shutting down. I hear from England, Australia, Germany, things are not looking good. So gold or silver is basically maintaining the purchasing power. It's a store of value. That is what it is. It's a store of value. Every currency out there, every paper currency, we have people from Nigeria on the call, you have the Naira, we have people from Kenya on the call, you have the shilling, Uganda, Ugandan shilling, South Africa people on the call, you have the Rand, British people, Australians, you have all those different paper currencies and all those people today present on the call, Norway, Norwegian Corona. So every paper currency against gold over time loses its value. So gold maintains and preserves its value. And if you don't believe me, let me do one thing here. And we're going to go somewhere which we're going to go to a site which is called the goldprice.org. And that is just the spot price. That is not the physical price. And Bill will, maybe he's going to touch a few words on what that means. But when we look at the performance of gold against any currency, and you think you're holding currency and it's wise, think otherwise. So let's look here what the different currencies are actually doing. So Bill, you see my chart here as well. Now, again, this is just the paper gold. That is not the physical. Maybe Bill, while you look at those charts, you're talking a little bit about paper versus, of course, the physical. And I'm going to look at all those charts here.
Well, sure. When you look at the market spot price, we're talking about the non-physical metal price, okay, the non-delivery price. It's just a contract price. So the contract price is like a futures price, is a non-physical metal price. If you wanted to take a physical delivery, for example, let's say that the gold closed at 1,500 an ounce. It closed just below that, actually, unfortunately. If you wanted to take physical delivery, you'd actually pay a percentage over and above that for the production of it, and the assaying, all those types of things to actually take physical delivery. And also the spot price only relates to what they call a good delivery bar. So the London Bullion Market spot price relates to a 12.5 kilo bar. It's about that size, 12.5 kilograms, which is 300 troy ounces. And in today, it's just under, I suppose, under $500,000 in value in today's current prices. But if you wanted to actually go and take physical delivery, of course, you'll have other associated costs with that. And of course, our gold, and it only relates to gold, which is 9995 pure or above, which is what a good delivery bar is. All of our gold, which is like I have here, is all 999.9 pure. So it's even refined. It's refined to a higher, you can actually see it on there. It's refined to a higher purity. It's 20. Actually, anything above 995 is deemed to be 24 karat, but this is 99.9 pure, and you don't get much more pure than that. And of course, go ahead.
Yeah, and here what you see, for example, when we look at the Australian dollar, because you're Aussie, and we have a few Aussies on the call here as well. So let's look, and there's a different currencies where it's even doing better than the others. So when you look at here this chart, yeah, so we have today, we have 30 days, 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, going back to 20 years gold price. This is the, again, that's a non-physical, what Bill just explained. So as you see here, well, actually, it always wins. So you have 20 years, 441% if you would have put gold 20 year, or if you would have basically, instead of saving in the Aussie dollar, you would have put it into gold. So you see, it doesn't fail. Now let's look at another. Who else do we have on the call? Okay, let's look at the United States dollar. Well, look at this. United States dollar, okay, in 30 days lost a little bit because everything went down, and gold is going to go up again. It's just a normal, natural thing that many people who basically have to be bailed out or getting broke, they will actually turn it into gold, or they will actually sell their gold. So that's why gold went a little bit down. But you look overall, it went up. That's the US dollar. Let's go and look. Who else do we have here? We have the Netherlands. No, Netherlands. We don't have any more Netherlands money. We have the euro or Swiss franc. Okay, let's look at the Swiss franc. You know, Swiss franc, as well as we see here, over 200% in 20 years. And 20 years, I remember, just went by like this. Let's look at the Canadian dollar, because we have a few Canadians on the call. Same deal here, 480% over 20 years. So it's basically always doing better. Let's look at the Brazilian real, because we have, of course, a growing team in Brazil. Wow, look at that. Brazil, 1,399%. Bill, what do you say? That's crazy, isn't it? He didn't say anything, but let's look at the South African rand, because we have a few South Africans here. Well, same deal. Look at this. Gold in comparison to the South African rand. Now let's go and what else do we have? We have British pound, GDP, the great British pound. How could I forget? Where is British pound? There you go, British pound. Look at this, almost 600% in 20 years, the British pound. Wow, look at this. Let's go to the euro. Have I showed the euro? Let's look at the euro. Well, look at this, almost 400%. Let's look at the Argentinian peso. Bill, are you there? Bill?
I am, Claudia. I don't see the charts though, but I understand what you're saying. Keep going.
You cannot see the chart?
It doesn't scroll up far enough for me. I just see the top. That's the problem.
Okay, so look at the Argentinian peso here. Do you see it now? The Argentinian peso in 19 years, that's 19 years, 34,000%. 34,000%. Isn't that crazy? 19 years, 34,000%. So, I mean, this is really, really insane. In fact, it's just crazy. So basically,
it's slavery.
Sorry,
it's slavery. This paper stuff keeps you in slavery. You trade your time for a paper currency. Actually, it won't be paper in the future. It'll just be bank digital in one sense, which mostly it is now, which loses value. So you trade 50 hours a week of your time, good honest time providing service, and for your service and experience, you're getting paid in a currency. That currency, the longer you hold on to it, it loses purchasing power. It's slavery. It transfers the wealth back to the central banking system. That's what it's designed to do. And once you get that inside your head, you understand you've got to think outside the box. Everyone here needs to double their income in the next few years. How are you going to do that? Well, we have a plan, and we also have real assets. It's that simple. And when this was introduced to me back in 2003, now I came from businesses, but when this was introduced to me in 2003 regarding wealth preservation and multiple streams of income, I just got it. To me, it was a no-brainer.
Look at the Kiwi dollar, 344% in 20 years.
And the question is, has wages gone up that much? Now, I can remember in 1998, I went to Germany. I bought a brand new 5 Series BMW there. It cost me 55,000 Deutschmarks, which 2 Deutschmarks, to be exact, 1.998 Deutschmark became €1. So let's say it's 2 Deutschmarks to euro, which means today a BMW 5 Series should be about 25, let's say 25, 26, 27,000 euros. It's not the case. You're probably paying 60 to 70,000 euros, which is 120 to 130,000 Deutschmarks. Everything's more than double the cost. So all currencies across the board have lost purchasing power. Go back to 2003 when I first started getting involved with gold. Gold was at $255 to $300 an ounce. What's that? It's around about $9 a gram, correct? Back then, you know, I could buy a cup of coffee for $1. Today in Germany, it's $5 or $6 at a Starbucks place, the equivalent to €1 primarily, you know. So preserving your wealth, diversifying part of your paper wealth into gold is a good long-term wealth preservation, because if you had to convert the gold back from today's crisis into your local currency, you're still going to have great purchasing power, but you've lost much of your purchasing power, as you've explained, in these different countries around the world. I know myself, going back to Australia, the cost of us having lived there for 15 years, the prices of food items and different things, it's probably threefold. It's much more expensive. But I would doubt incomes have increased 3 times. And for people who live, I'm getting a little bit digressing here, just quickly, but people who live in these different countries, like Argentina, who just closed the banks for a couple of weeks in different places, and high inflation. I think they have 50% inflation, probably more now. Venezuela, all these particular countries, actually most countries have it. It's going to get a lot more. Is that by being able to diversify your income source, that you can earn another currency, that you can actually save in different types of hard assets, is a very powerful thing. Meeting that banker today, and this guy is in the know. He said, he messaged me today, we have to meet. Someone WhatsApp message. He said the Fed are going to have to print crazy to keep up with it all. That's what he said, because everything's shut down, which means to stop the implosion, they're going to have to issue a lot of liquidity. So central banks, European central banks around the world are unison right now, printing as much as fast as they can. And of course, what follows the end of that is a devaluation in the purchasing power of your currency. We're going to have more inflation. That effect will come in a little bit later on. It's already here, but greater effect will come on later on. But that's what they're doing right now as we speak, to try and keep things going, because everything is shut down. You know, airline industries, hotels, I mean, supply chains. It's everything is pretty much closed. Economies have pretty much come to a standstill in one respect. So how do they keep this engine going? They're going to keep it going through printing. So we're talking about gold prices and different things. He said, you know, because of the liquidity drive, maybe they even drop down further the gold price, which is fantastic buying levels, before it starts to break out in the highs again. But who knows? Let's see what happens. The next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks is going to be a huge telling story, isn't it?
Well, that's absolutely true. I mean, and as prices, if they drop, but even though if they wouldn't drop, I'm buying. That's for sure. I mean, let's just look at the last chart here, or the second last chart. Look at the Norwegian Corona. The Norwegian Corona in the last 20 years. No wonder Brian York, since 12 or 13 years with us here, buying 627%. The Norwegian Corona, meaning like 627% gold did better than the Norwegian Corona. So you really can go to any currency. Let's look at the top, because we have a few people from Thailand on the call. I want to go to the Thai baht to see if the Thai baht here. Well, same deal here, Thai baht, 349% in 20 years. So you can really literally look at every currency and you will see the same things happening. So that's what we are in. That's why we have the best platform out there right now. The best. I'm not saying one, we have the best. You can, from start, as from little as 25 euros, you have 24/7 access, you have LBMA good delivery, you have secure private vaulting, which you want to have in a country which 700 years hasn't been attacked like Switzerland, because we don't know where this is going to go. Maybe there are going to be rivals on the street. Who knows? And you have, of course, sourcing from the best refinery in the world, Argo Horias. And so you have that. Right now you can buy gold, and you can actually be diversified. So while all this is coming, I don't know how it's going, you can actually be diversified in precious metals, and you're very liquid. So if in case you do need to sell it, well, very simple. You just press a button and you sell it back. And then Bill, of course, and the company UtopianGlobal is actually selling it back and sending you the money through Bitcoin, or of course to your bank account if you want to use the bank way. Otherwise, of course, we always encourage very much the Bitcoin way. So
Claudia, this is the message from the banker here I got today on my WhatsApp. We chatted a bit because he messaged me. Across the board, cash is to be liquid is very important right now. Liquidity is getting drained. Central banks have to print very fast. In the next few days, massive short of liquidity I expect, which can force all assets to get busted. Inflation is yet to come. And so, I mean, we are in a serious situation right now. Whether it was engineered to be like this and that, I really don't know. But that will be revealed as we move on. But the important thing is for yourself is to have some cash and you know, get your finances. Hopefully they're in order before this came. But who knows? Maybe we get out the other side, not too much of a damage done. But I mean, the markets are down 30%, but they could pull down another 20%. Who knows? the 50% pullback is a pretty traditional support level. If it breaks that, it can keep going. So we just don't know. This bounce may not be the reality that it's over. You know, so it just depends how long all this these shutdowns of countries and fly-ins and fly-outs, and people can't move to do business. Things stop.
Very
Anyway.
much, very much so. It's really crazy times. So, but again, we have been telling this. We just didn't know it would be playing out like coronavirus, but we have been telling those crazy circumstances. In fact, Philip Judge, of course, who introduced you sort of in the whole kind of gold, and of course to Ryan Messer. I mean, he always said, look, those things you need to have. You need to have land, so you're still self-sustainable, that you can actually grow and you can eat if worse comes to worse. And it needs to be located in a place where, you know, there's usually no earthquakes and no all this stuff. You need to have gold or silver because you may need it if all currencies default. And what all this happened, gold or silver always has been a safe haven. So we were sort of kind of always talking and preparing people to that. But of course, it's always the case. It is always the case. People don't listen. I'm sorry to say, and they do it last minute. So I've not. I know a few people who did take action as well. I congratulate you, because you're now on the safe side. So, but let's go and dive into, of course, what we here offer as well is, of course, a store, but to be able to own income-producing assets, such, of course, a part of Texas, Raccoon Bend oil-producing field. Even oil prices are down right now, super down. It's an 18 years low. But of course, the clever management has put a hedge against in place until summer that it's covered with $50 per barrel, even though, of course, I think it hit even 30 or lower than $30 the gold price. No, sorry, the gold price, the oil price. So you basically become a stakeholder, and this field here is actually producing for 25 plus years for, of course, the stakeholders oil, which is this is a part of the plan for store. But of course, the bigger plan is once we get out of this, what it's right now is, of course, moving into that plastic recycling through Polystream technology, because plastic is a global problem. It's not going to go away. We will have plastics. So 92% right now is not recycled. It's dumped into the oceans. But of course, with the technology of Polystream, we have the ability to actually make it valuable again. And that is, of course, Ryan Messer and his team. They're planning 100 plans. Of course, therefore, we need to raise funds. We need to raise money so that we can able to do that with a production of 54 to 60,000 basically kilos per day per site. So this is what we want to do, and of course, to turn that into liquids, to turn this into biodiesel, for example. It depends, of course, on what is actually wanted in the region which we build there. But this estimates a revenue of around $700 per month per plant, of course, subject to the oil price at a time, of course, of sale. That is clear. Right now, the oil price is extremely down.
700,000, not 100.
Yeah, 700,000, I said. Yeah. Bill, did you want to comment anything?
No, sure. I just heard 700. I thought, no, you missed a few zeros there. 700,000, but yes, correct, based on the current sort of on the oil pricing. Yeah.
That's my German English, or you know, sorry for that. Then, of course, the next project we want to go into, obviously, is the mineral reclamation and remediation in Peru and Ecuador. And Bill, of course, you know, also with dealing with those businessmen, minerals is really a place to be in, right?
Yes, no question about that. I'm here with a very interesting businessman. I can't reveal who he is, but certainly the asset he's got, you know, for the technologies, the minerals that he mines for, it's $1 billion valuation. It's a fantastic concept. So let's see where it leads. But correct.
Absolutely.
Actually, rare earth minerals are a necessity. Okay,
yep.
And they're very so. That's really what he is, and high value. But these are longer term projects, but massive projects with high margin, because you know renewable energies, chip development, all these types of things require these rare earth minerals, which is interesting. So I've learned a lot in the last days. Maybe I'm stuck here and he's stuck here because we're meant to be together discussing this stuff. Who knows? Maybe this has brought us together to really discuss these projects. But anyway, it's really interesting listening to such an accomplished entrepreneur. I mean, this man is mega, very big. It's fantastic. He showed me pictures of him taking him and Muhammad Ali. He took Muhammad Ali to a particular country. He showed me with different presidents and ambassadors from different countries. He's the real deal, and this particular asset he's working on is really an exciting project. And so we're having discussions, but let's see where it all leads. But
and that's what a store is, of course, doing. So store is always looking for these projects, those amazing projects, of course, which can bring a high return. That is clear. So rare earth minerals, as you said, batteries, fuel, just before the crisis, everybody was just in all the media, and now you hear nothing about it, was climate change, Tesla, batteries. You just heard it all the time. Well, what do these batteries need? What do they need? Of course, rare minerals. These solar panels, what do they need? Silver and rare minerals. So I mean, this is huge, and there's a huge upside in that, and that is certainly what we raising money for as well through store. So you see here's a part of the management team and also the CEO of store, Ryan Messer, down there in Ecuador, looking at this high growth project in the minerals. Again, all what it needs obviously are funds to get these projects started. So this is why when we launched in 2018 store, it was in a pre-launch, in a pre-seed. So in a pre-seed, of course, normally it is when it is more risky, it's higher risk. So that means people who actually put money down, they of course get way more shares than of course the normal people then later on would get. So we started pre-launching in November. It was with 10 cents, and then of course we raised as we purchased asset. The price basically was going up and going up, and of course we do estimate that once everything is normal, once we launch, once we have of course accomplished a few more projects, which of course now takes more time because certainly everything is shut down right now, but we want to launch eventually when everything is over at a €4 price, and we can only achieve that if, of course, we make those projects happening. But what it means for you is obviously is right now we own an asset. That asset is right now producing. So you are actually a stakeholder if you buy in already from an income producing asset, which is great. Again, the disclaimer here, to achieve the optimal financial result, the timing on the exchange listing will be decided by the board and influenced by the current asset value, obviously, and revenues generated and the current financial market condition at the time of listing. And I think everybody understands now would be the worst time to actually list. But the great thing is, and that is really what I want to talk just very quickly about it, is that we have an amazing opportunity here to boost your income. Everybody needs now one thing, and that is cash. Everybody needs cash now, right? Because things are drying up. As Bill said, people are losing their jobs. I mean, all my friends here, all of them, they're losing their businesses. Only the doctor not. All the others, they're all losing their businesses. There are bakeries, there's more restaurants, there are bigger restaurants. I mean, Bill, I don't know if you know the Vapiano chain. Well, they just failed bankrupt. So they're gone. So basically, I come from hospitality. So all of them, they're closing down. And it's sad. They don't know if they will be, able to basically come up or go through that. We don't know. So the thing is, we need all cash. And when you basically start with us, you become a customer, become an affiliate. For a customer, obviously, it's very wise to get gold or silver because it's the best and optimal diversification. The best hedge against inflation. And the German government already announced, well, it looks like we're going to go into a deflationary period. One week, I think the financial minister said the other day that we can sustain that. And again, this is, we know there's a lot of fake money out there. Anyhow, fake money in terms of there was a lot of money printing, and there is a lot of money printing, and will be more money printing going out of thin air. So you can, as a customer, obviously get gold or silver, and you can get store, where you can then earn from the increase of the asset value, as well as earn from the distributions of store. But as an affiliate, you can build a business worldwide, where you can show people our business, where they can get gold or silver and you get paid from, where they can get into the assets and you can get paid from whatever they buy. And when you build, of course, and share our concept, you build a network of people, well, you make money 6 different ways. And so therefore, in our program, we have the different packages which you can buy, where you get store inside if you are outside the United States, and if you're in the United States, you get gold or silver, but you can, of course, buy any additional gold as you wish. But all these packages outside the United States, it contains store. That means you actually invested into the assets, starting from €99 on up to 3,500, and then we have the higher packages from 9,000 to 1 million. Basically, you're going to get the platform, you get assets, but plus you get the platform to do the marketing. And it's very simple with the power of free. So you introduce it to 3 people and they buy a package. Basically, your package is covered for. Your package is paid for. You actually your initial investment is actually paid for, and you own some real assets. Pretty simple. And every time you refer somebody who purchases a package, you're going to make a what we call fast start commission. And why would you not introduce? Well, I can tell you what, I'm sharing it with my friends. Why? Well, because now more than ever, they need that. They need that more than ever. They need diversification. So definitely, not everybody is going to buy into it. Not everybody is going to like it. Not everybody sees the big picture behind. But it doesn't matter. I'm still sharing it, and people sooner or later come on board, and actually they do. So a fast start referral commission, and there's multiple ways to get paid from the direct bonuses every time you sell precious metals, from the different incentives, etc., etc. So what we have, and what we really have been doing since 12 years, is we have a monthly asset accumulation plan. So right now, in your monthly asset accumulation plan, you get store, but you can also have a accumulation plan with precious metals. So I, for example, myself, I'm accumulating each and every month assets plus gold and silver. So I'm accumulating store plus gold or silver. €50 a month. Imagine just over a period of the last 12 or 13 years, based on the charts I showed you, if you just would have put 50 years every month in gold or silver, or 25 gold, 25 silver, you would be way better off right now. You see, and every time, of course, you share those €50 a month asset accumulation plans, well, you're going to get paid. You're going to get paid from all the people you introduce, they introduce, and so on, which is really, really great. So there's affiliate rewards, of course, watches, phone, laptop. We have special country incentives as well. And of course, we have exotic vacation, but right now, there's no vacation, but later on they will resume, obviously. Eventually, I think we're going to be able to travel again. When, we don't know yet. But this is what we do through UtopianGlobal. So your time to actually build wealth with passive income doesn't start tomorrow. It actually starts today. So the time to get in is actually today. Because tomorrow, well, again, it's another day that we know. But things are going to change very, very rapidly. So I prefer to be protected now than tomorrow. I prefer to have a second income in place now than tomorrow. So contact the person who invited you, actually, and well, ask them how to join or what they can do and how to get started. Because, of course, he's the person who did recommend to this presentation. We are on Facebook, as you see, on Instagram, on Twitter, follow us there, on YouTube, and on Telegram. So we have Facebook groups where we do trainings, get great insights, where you can learn some skills on how to share this better and easier, so that you don't need to send them on the long presentations. But on those long presentations, what we always do, we keep it a little bit interactive. We share some new information, some more up-to-date information. And I invite everybody, of course, for next Tuesday's webinar, and especially for next Thursday's webinar, which will be mainly focused on gold or silver, and it will be focused on market updates. And we're going to hear from Bill, and we're going to hear probably from Ryan Messer about store and everything which is going to go in his market. So with that, I want to say thank you. Again, important notice, we have a 14 days money back guarantee. Store currently is not available in the US. We have a great new product coming out in the US very soon. Well, again, the time to get in to own real assets, real income, certainly have a real lifestyle once this is over, because a real lifestyle, we also, of course, want to travel. That is certainly a lifestyle as well, but stay safe again, as Bill said. Stay calm, think positive, because this is also really, really important. In all of that, we have to think positive. We have to believe that we will get out good of that. But again, you need to prepare. You need to make different decisions that you may just did a few weeks ago. So with that, I want to say thank you, Bill, and maybe you want to add something else. And I want to just look quickly at of the questions. We have one question here coming from, actually a few, from Paul, from Liliana. Bill Gates predicted of this pandemic was announced in 2015. Yes, mindset is outstanding, but fear took place of people finding objectionable, reasonable things to do. Yes, we can show you how to get over this fear, say to avoid investment. Again, gold or silver is not an investment, it's an insurance policy. We need insurance policies, Liliana. Everybody needs an insurance policy in place right now. Paul is saying, great presentation, you too, but I keep reading that if we do enter a deflationary period, this will also be negative for the price of precious metals such as gold. Is this true? Oh, that's a good question, Paul. Let's ask Bill. Should I repeat the question, Bill?
No, I'm just thinking, because there's so many variables to this particular thing. I mean, the gold market's heavily manipulated. Primarily, we see the bullion banks buying up the gold right now. People may not be buying it, but bullion banks are buying it. And they're buying it exceptionally at these levels right now. I mean, it's discounted to them. So Russia, China have been buying up most of the bullion, exceptionally this year and last year. The last couple of years, they've been adding huge amount of tonnage. I'm talking tonnage, billions of dollars worth of gold to their particular storage. Again, you never get in at the exact lows or get out at the exact highs, do you? So I just like the monthly concept. But as my banking friend here, who's much more experienced than me, said, you know, long-term gold is going to go up. On the short term, it could actually, from this bounce, drop down, especially with the liquidity problems. The price could pull back a bit more from where it is right now, which I know is just going to be a buying levels for quite a few people that I know, including myself. But yes, for sure, on oil prices, it does affect us, our investment. Right now it doesn't, because as Claudia said in her presentation, that the management team have a hedging place with British Petroleum, BP, in place. So they're paying us right now over $50 a barrel, even though it's much more discounted to that. But that hedge will finish in the second half of this year. And then, of course, it has to be rolled over. And depending on what where the world is there, we really don't know. But one thing's for sure, this price collapse of oil is really between Saudi Arabia. I was speaking to these business people here in the last days, between Saudi Arabia and Russia in one sense. And the biggest people who it's going to affect is the US market, of course. The shale industry is pretty much going to shut down supply there. But Saudi Arabia can't really afford to actually keep the prices where they are at the moment with their production and current prices, because they're burdened, their economy is on the downside, they're burdened with debt, where Russia on the other side, even though they've been under huge sanctions and pressure from the West, unjustly so I believe, but they've reinforced with their culture they have there a low debt and strong holding of assets. I mean, it's incredible what they've really achieved. So Russia's in a better position than probably all of them, to be quite honest, because of those particular actions in that respect. So I don't think oil prices are going to stay low for a long time. They will come back because it's in the interest of the powers to be, including Saudi Arabia, which is the trigger one. They don't want for their economy and the debt that they have, they don't want to keep oil prices down too low. But geopolitics is complex. I'm no expert at that. And the thing is, we own real assets. We don't own paper, we own real assets. And the thing about owning real assets is they've never gone to zero. There's always going to be a demand for gold and silver. There's always going to be demand for oil and gas, of course, and this is what we own. While there's going to be price fluctuations like this up and down, long term, I think we're going to do very, very well out of this. And I say that because over 80% of the ownership in these assets is owned by industry insiders who are in the know. So we have a good long-term safe asset there. And plastics to fuel, it's a no-brainer, to be quite honest. You know, there's a mega tonnage, millions of tons of waste plastic out there just waiting to be converted to low sulfur diesel. But we have to build that, and we've got to raise capital in this environment. But that's our absolute focus this year, and this is what we're going to be doing.
Absolutely. And again, as you mentioned with Russia there, and of course China, I mean, I just got here the 2 hours ago from Jim Rickards, which you should all follow as well on Twitter. He put some great stuff out there, Jim Rickards, and you know, about Philip Judge, of course, who's on our white paper, and who actually, together with Bill back then, 12 years ago, co-founded the company. Well, on his precious metals fund, Jim Rickards is actually the advisor. So he just put out there, maybe small investor can't get physical gold right now, but Russia still get theirs. Central banks of Russia just added 12.4 for 12.44 metric tons in February, bringing it to a total to 2,289.2 metric tons of gold. So why is Russia buying gold so much? Why is China buying gold so much? What are they doing differently? Why do they do that? So those things are really important to understand. So I'm certainly going to do that. I think Putin is a very smart, very intelligent man. He knows, well, I do what I always have been doing, probably more now, even getting more silver, because I can't see that I get silver. I mean, silver could even drop more, but I can't see that it will basically go, okay, it could maybe even go to whatever, 10, 8, $6, whatever, but I mean, eventually it will go up. So I'm keeping buying, and again, it's the paper price which you see, but it's not the physical price, because if you want to get physical silver, you pay way, way, way more than you see on the spot price. So, and you can't get it all the big
Claudia,
gold.
why don't you show your photo of you and Mr. Putin together? People won't believe it.
I don't have it here. I don't have it here, unfortunately. I would have to search it. Yeah, I have it here on the way. I have it actually.
Why don't you get it and show it, because it's quite a remarkable thing that here you are, Mr. Putin. You could be a Russian spy, Claudia, maybe. Or was that fake news?
Okay. Now, many people don't like Putin, and I don't like politics myself either. But yes, I actually met him personally. I spent actually there. So as you see here, this is me, myself, a few years back. I met him. So very interesting. I think a very smart man, very calm man, brilliant. I think he's very brilliant in what he does. Like it or not like it, I'm not gonna here say yes or no. I out of politics, but I think he's a very brilliant, very smart man. So whatever he does for his country, many people would disagree with it, but I think that's my personal opinion, that he's very smart. So I better be, you know, with the people who in the know and follow them, and I think that's the best strategy to do. So, you know, okay, that's my comment to it. Bill?
Well, I can't beat that, Claudia.
So, no, it's just, you know, anyhow. So, and you know, the funny thing is, my mother, she met back then Khrushchev. and then my grandparents, they met Stalin, believe it or not. So you know, and Stalin, oh, a horrible man. But anyhow, so yes, actually, all of our generations, we met one of the Russian people there. Interesting, just what a coincidence. I mean, I did grow up, of course, in East Germany, and with the fear every morning we had a tank in front of our house every morning, like a big Panzer. When you understand that, a big Panzer, because where I was living, they did also the maneuvers for the basically, well, the Warsaw Pact states. So it's not a nice feeling to be around, I can tell you that. I gladly escaped East Germany, and I escaped it because I wanted to have financial freedom. I wanted to be able to travel. I wanted to, you know, be free. But yet, of course, now we are in a situation we can't travel anymore. So it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing. But again, I learned a lot as well out of that experience. I learned a lot because, look, my father was in the German World War. My grandparents were in the World War. I think my grandparent, he lost all his brothers. My grandma, she lost all his brothers. So all brother and sisters, I think there were 12 in each family. So, and they were the only to survive because they were younger. But yeah, they have gone through, of course, Weimar Republic, deflation, meaning like, of course, you know, the money was worth toilet paper. Or that's what they used it for. So I have still those old notes in my house. So I knew that. I knew of all these stories where they, of course, with the gold, they would sew it into their clothes, and they could then flee. So I know all that stuff. And of course, through Philip Judge, and of course your education and myself educating, I have been able over the last 12 years to be, of course, on the safe side, to not have debt. And to have precious metals as the hedge against inflation. So again, just to encourage the listeners again, like especially in these times, but always it's good to have a little bit of a diversification in gold or silver, but you must have sources of cash flow. So you need to find other ways to make cash flow. If you just depend on one single income, is not good. You have to have different income sources. Look at what's happening now with all this craziness going on. So this is why, of course, we have an amazing opportunity right now. Right now is an amazing opportunity, but only if you make use of it. This is my ending today. We are over 1 hour. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you all listening. Stay safe.
Thank you, Claudia. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.